Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Hannah if you're new, and if you're not, thanks for coming back to my channel. So today's video is another sorority recruitment video because you guys seem to enjoy the last video I posted about sorority recruitment, and it was just my experience about it all. So if you haven't watched that, go ahead and check that out. But this video, I decided to give some tips and advice about sorority recruitment. So I know this year is a little crazy and weird, and some schools haven't really announced yet how recruitment is going to work and how it's going to go down. But with this virus, I guess we have to take the precautions necessary. But these are still some tips that you guys can take with you. If you're doing recruitment, if you're considering it, I suggest you just listen to some of the tips and advice I have. So let's see. Before we get started, I do want to say that recruitment is different for everybody. I've said this before, you know, everybody has different experiences. It's also not for everybody, and you may find that out at the start of the week and at the start of recruitment. But I will say that no matter what, I think that you should give it a try, and I think it's worth the experience, whether you're gonna go through with it or not. So the first thing I have down is go into recruitment with an open mind. And this is extremely important because you don't want to go into recruitment with your mind set on one sorority and you already think, you know, that's where I'm gonna go. I already want that sorority. You don't want to have your mind set on that and then you're either disappointed or they don't call you back, and then what are you gonna do if it's not everything you expected? So make sure you go into every single sorority with an open mind. You go into recruitment as a whole with an open mind, and you really just stay positive throughout it. And really just keep that mind open so you aren't just stuck on one and then end up getting disappointed if what you want doesn't happen. The second thing I have down is to not base your decision off of social media pages or just because you may know someone in the sorority. This is a huge thing. I know that before recruitment, you're looking at every single sorority's Instagram pages. They really try to make it the most presentable they can because they know that P&Ms really do look at the Instagram pages. And you know, unfortunately, social media has a big influence on people's decisions today. So just make sure that you're not basing your decision off of what you see on Instagram, because what you see on Instagram is, again, highlights of things and you don't really know the sorority yet. So yes, you can look at it to get an idea and maybe think, oh, this looks like me or something, but don't just set your mind on it on one sorority because you like their Instagram page. I remember looking at the sorority's Instagram pages and not basing my decision off of it, but I definitely was like, I like this Instagram and that Instagram. So don't go into it thinking, you know, they have a good social media so they're gonna be the right fit for me, because social media has nothing to do with everything else that the sorority stands for. That's just a part of them showing the face of the sorority, so don't base your opinions off of that. Also, if you know someone in the sorority, that is great, and they may put in a good word for you or they may talk nice about you, but don't, again, base your decision off of because you know someone that you went to high school with or you know someone from your hometown that's in that sorority. Just because you may know someone doesn't mean that, again, that is the right fit for you. I mean, it could be great if you and that person are very much alike and they've told you a lot about the sorority. That's nice. But again, don't go into it with the thought of, oh, I know so-and-so, so I'm automatically gonna get in, because that's not the case and that isn't allowed. Bid promising, dirty rushing, all of that stuff is not allowed. So make sure you really just go into it with an open mind and don't focus your opinions on because you know someone or because of the social media and you like the way it looks. Okay, the next thing I want to say is do not go comparing your experience to everyone else's. Everybody goes through it differently and everybody has different preferences, so the whole process is different. So if somebody is just killing it, getting invited all back to all the houses that they wanted, and someone is just having the best time and you're just not really feeling it, don't compare your experience to that person's. Again, it's different for everybody, but try to stay positive throughout the whole thing and know that it'll work out how it's supposed to. Okay, another thing is social media. Now, I know I said before, don't base your decision on the Instagram social medias or the sororities Instagram social media and things like that, but you need to make sure your social media is nice and pristine and cleaned up, because these sororities are looking at yours just like you're looking at theirs, and you want to make sure that your Instagram and your social media as a whole is reflective of you and who you are. This goes for TikTok, Viscos, Instagrams, Twitters, all of them. Make sure that you don't have anything that you don't want people to see that looks bad for you, even if it was years and years ago in high school. Make sure that it is cleaned up and it is a representation of who you are, because really social media nowadays has a lot to do with reputation, unfortunately, and these girls are looking at your social medias just like you're looking at theirs. So make sure that it's how you want it and it's how you want people to see you. This is kind of like a thing where I never really paid attention, but a lot of girls do. Do not go on Greek Rank and look up the sororities. Greek Rank is so biased because most of it isn't even people that are not in sororities. Greek Rank is the sororities voting. They're basically, you know, voting for themselves. So say that Katie goes in and they put, this is the best sorority, blah, 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 they're hyping themselves up. And then they can also go in and put, this sorority sucks and blah, blah, blah. It's all opinion based by the sororities trying to one up each other. And just don't pay attention to Greek Rank. It is dumb. Nobody pays attention to it. So just don't pay attention to Greek Rank, because most of the things you'll see on there are biased and just not it. Okay, so another big thing, and this kind of goes into conversation tips and talking points, which I'm going to do a whole nother video on, but this is to think about your why. So think about why you wanted to join a sorority, because that's going to come up in every single sorority you visit. Is why did you want to rush? Why did you want to do this? And you need to make sure you have a good answer. Do not say because of the boys and the parties and the frats and all that. Do not. I promise you it'll make you look bad. I'm going to go further into what you shouldn't say in recruitment, but that'll be in another video. But that's just, it should be kind of common sense. Don't talk about boys and parties and things like that. Just make sure that you say your why and it sounds genuine. Don't make it up, but just figure it out. Figure out why you wanted to join. My why was because my mom was in a sorority when she was in college, and she would always tell me all about it and how it was just the best time, and she made such great friends in her college times. And I also grew up with 4 brothers, and so I wanted to have that, you know, sisterhood type of bond with girls. So that's why I joined. But make sure you have a good story behind why you joined, not just because of boys and parties, even though that could be your why, but don't say it during recruitment. Another thing I suggest is to take notes after each and every sorority you go to. Make sure, whether it's you take a notepad and a pen, you write them down on your phone, you want to come out of every single sorority each day, each round, you want to come out and write down the pros and cons for each. You want to write down what you liked, what you didn't like, why you think you'd fit in there, you know, and you want to rank them in order, write them down in order of why you liked this house or why you didn't like this house. You want to make sure that you are remembering the house as well, and remembering your reasoning for behind, you know, why you're putting this one in order over this one and things like that. So I really suggest writing it down after each house. Oh, this is a big one. So during recruitment, someone is always listening. So be careful what you say about other sororities, because someone is always listening to you. You can get in trouble, the sorority can get in trouble if the sorority did something like dirty rushing, or they said something to you along the lines of like bid promising or something. If somebody hears you say that, they will automatically try everything in their power to get that sorority in trouble. So just make sure that you are being conscious of what you say. And if you're saying things about, you know, the conversation you had or the girls or anything like that, like just just know that someone is always listening. I mean, recruitment is competitive. Make sure that you are careful with what you say always during that whole week of recruitment. This is a huge one. So at Kennesaw, like I said in previous videos, we only have 7 sororities, so it is smaller than most schools, but I will say that the days are still long, and visiting every sorority can get tiring, especially if you're, you know, your last house before lunch or your last house before the end of the day. It can get tiring, it can get long, no matter how many sororities you may have at your school. And you just need to make sure that you never act uninterested. If you're in this sorority and you know that you're not going to put them down, and you just don't think you'll mesh well with them, and you don't think it's the house for you, this doesn't mean to act bored in a conversation and to be rude and to just kind of shove off yeah answering questions. You need to act just as interested in that sorority conversation as you would in a sorority that you absolutely love, because again, you build a reputation over recruitment, and people know people, and you don't want to have that reputation. You don't want to look bad and make yourself look bad, and the sorority that you may absolutely love may not absolutely love you back, and then you might have just blown your chances to be in any sorority because you acted uninterested in all the other ones. You want to make sure that you are staying positive and you are staying engaged in conversation, because that also makes the girl you're talking to feel really bad, and it sucks. You know, she doesn't want to have to carry the conversation the whole time and then not know what to say to you because you look uninterested or bored. You want to make sure that you have the same amount of energy in every house and just be nice. Engage in conversation. The conversations aren't that long. You can figure out what to say and then go on to your next house, but never act uninterested, because that just makes you look bad. This is another one that kind of goes along with talking points and conversation tips, is to, before you go to recruitment, maybe know answers to basic questions. It's like a little interview, especially the first day of recruitment. It's very much small talk, and they're just trying to get to know you. So what are some things you like to do? What are some things that you would help in our sorority? What would you, want to be involved with? Things like that. Just know some answers to some basic questions and kind of practice that, and make sure you have answers for those, because you're going to be getting those questions from every single sorority all day long. It is kind of repetitive, especially that first day when they're all just trying to get to know you, but make sure you have those answers and you're not sitting there awkwardly, and make sure you can carry a conversation with that person. Ask them questions as well, because it helps the person you're talking to engage more and get to know your personality and who you are more. So just make sure you know your answers to those basic questions. So when you're choosing a sorority, you need to make sure that you're choosing a sorority that really their ideals line up with yours and their values line up with yours. You want to make sure you choose a place that you know you will be the most comfortable in. You don't want to choose one because they're the most popular or the coolest Instagram. You want to choose one because you know that you will fit in the best there, and you will feel the most comfortable with all of those girls and the values that they hold and the ideals that they have. So make sure you really focus on the sororities, philanthropy and the things that they support before you really make a decision. This is kind of a technical thing, but these are a few things, like make sure you wear comfortable shoes when you're doing recruitment. Do not just break in your shoes the first time you're going through recruitment. Make sure you have broken them in. You are wearing comfortable shoes that you are comfortable with walking around all day and standing for long amounts of times. Make sure your shoes are comfortable. That's a huge one. Also, bring things like water, mints, deodorant, perfume. You're not allowed to take much into the rooms, and you'll have to give them to your pad guys to hold, but a lot of times your pad guys or rogams, whatever you call them, will have a bag with all that stuff already prepared for you, which is really nice. Like I know mine had like mints, deodorant, things like that you may need. The oil blotters, which are huge. Make sure you have some things like that just to keep yourself fresh and nice for each house. This is a huge one. If you don't know what a sorority is, or you didn't know much about one before rushing, make sure you are prepared for the chants in this singing, because it is like the memes and the videos that you see. They are loud, they are in sync, and it is a lot all at once, especially when it's your first day. It's like, whoa, everything is coming at you, and all the girls are screaming and smiling and kind of looks scary. So make sure you're prepared for that. But after, it's fun. I mean, when they start chanting, it's exciting, and you look around and they're all just smiling at you. So make sure you're prepared for that, because it is a little terrifying at first when they're all loud and screaming, but that's what you do in a sorority. So make sure you're staying positive throughout this whole experience. Even if you don't get called back to the house that you really wanted, or you're not really having the best experience, try your best to stay positive. Like I've said a million times before, things will work out. If you're not meant to be in a sorority, hey, look, you figured it out, and just have a positive outlook on as much as possible. I know things can get down sometimes, and it's just a long and tiring week, but try your best to really stay positive during the time and focus on the good that comes out of it all. This one is kind of something I wish I would have known. Remember that everyone is nervous, especially the girls on the other side. So most of the time, the girls that you are talking to that are already in sororities are more nervous than you are, especially the girls that are recruiting for the first time and they're on the other side of recruitment for the first time. It's extremely nerve-wracking, because they're the ones that are trying to get you to join their sorority and to really make a good impression on you. Another thing is to try and find a way to stand out. In a lot of these sororities, in most of the conversations, they hear the same thing all day long. So try and find something and switch it up and make yourself seem unique and different, and don't just give the same boring answer, because they've heard it probably all day long 1,000 times over. So try and find something that'll make you stand out from all the other girls. Another one is, it's gone along with a few other things I've said, is to just not base your decision off anyone else. If you've made friends in your pie cat group and all of a sudden she likes one and you like the other, don't base your decision off of theirs and think that just because you'll be in the same sorority, you guys will end up being best friends. You guys can still be best friends even if you're in different sororities. Again, like I said previous, make sure you choose a sorority that you feel you will fit best in, that fits your ideas, your values, things like that. So make sure you don't base your opinion off of anyone else's choice. Another thing is to prepare yourself for a long, tiring, emotional roller coaster. Recruitment is so much fun and it's so worth it in the end, but that week is long and tiring, and it is an emotional roller coaster. You will have all these sorts of emotions. You'll be excited and happy, you may be upset, you may be sad, you'll be tired. There are so many things that come with recruitment, and it's just a lot on the mind and on the body. But towards the end of the week, like I said, when it comes bid day, you'll be thankful you did it in the end if you ended up sticking through and finishing and finding a sorority that was right for you. Last thing is to really just trust the process. I know we heard this phrase, trust the process, like every day, like so many times a day during recruitment, and we were so annoyed with it, and we were like, we get it, trust the process, blah blah blah. And it's hard to think about when you're in the moment and you're like, I can't trust the process, I just want what I want. But trusting the process really is what you need to do, but you will end up where you are supposed to end up, and you really just need to trust the whole process, every single up and down of it, and really just believe that it'll all work out and you will end up in the sorority that you were supposed to end up in. So you're going to hear that 1,000 times, but trust the process, have an open mind, stay positive, and really just focus on your decision and yourself. So those were just a few tips that I had written down that I thought would be helpful for any girls that are considering going through recruitment. I really hope that you guys take each of these things into consideration, because they really would have helped me if I would have had these tips before, but I'm glad that I can share it with you guys. I will have a video coming soon over conversation points and talking points, and kind of the do's and don'ts of what you should and shouldn't say when you are going through recruitment. So make sure you guys keep an eye out for that video. That will be coming soon. And I want you guys to know that you guys are always welcome to ask me any questions. You can follow my Instagram. It's always in the link in the description. And you can message me on there. You can leave a comment below. You can, you know, just ask me questions, give me suggestions for videos you guys would like to see. I'm always open and looking for videos that people would enjoy. And yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I really hope it was helpful. And I hope you have a beautiful day, and I will see you all in my next video.